Mike, just a couple things that I think we've talked about in previous episodes, but I want to reinforce it. Just a couple, passing thoughts that I've had that I think are relevant as we get here into inning number 6, bottom of the 6th.
Right.
But depression and anxiety, it's like an injury, but you can't see it. It's an illness. It doesn't mean that you're weak. And a well-meaning person might, see something positive and say to you like, see, everything's fine. It's okay. But for somebody that's in that, it's not that easy. Like, it's an illness. You don't just snap out of it. So, to anybody watching and listening that's experiencing that, I want to make sure that, they know that we understand that, and you're not alone with how you feel about those things. I've heard those things over the course of time, and some of those kind of like it's an invisible enemy within. I thought that would be an important thing to kind of bring up and reinforce again here before we finish today.
No, I think, and I appreciate that. Again, Derek, I mean, you're spot on with just, sometimes these experiences that we each have, no one else is aware of. It kind of gets back to this idea of, I had shared, I think at some point in time, and I share this a lot, where we all live a story, we all have a story to tell, we all write our own stories. And most people have no idea really what's going on with that story with any great detail, unless we share with folks. But that's not something that happens commonly with all the layers that happen on the inside. We talk about kind of behind the facade of what we see on the outside. So sometimes you do hear about kind of the invisible scars, the invisible wounds of the emotional kind of trauma or challenges and stressors that people have, and sometimes people will get to a place, we hear the terms mental illness, and that is real. It is definitely real. You've spoken to just how, you used the word one time, crippling it can be in someone's daily functioning. And that is absolutely true. But I would also say to those people that are listening that it's not just about, sometimes thinking about it in terms of mental illness or an illness per se. It is really sometimes just life's struggles, emotional challenges. Sometimes they're traumatic situations that have happened to us. Sometimes they're just highly stressful things. Sometimes they're sometimes we call them daily hassles of life that just keep building and build up over time, that just create these emotional kinds of surges of challenge. And so, but sometimes sometimes on the outside, people may not be aware of that. You had said earlier in another, conversation we had, from the outside, hey, I have a great life. I have a family, I have my 3 kids. I'm doing what I love. I'm passionate about sports and, being on the air and calling games and being around athletes. But then you said, but then I also struggle with this. But if you didn't share that sometimes, that's the invisible scar. Those are the invisible scars, invisible wounds that sometimes we all carry and have. And so I want to normalize that for people. I think we both do. We want to just say, hey, this can happen to any one of us. It's okay sometimes to not be okay, but there are things to absolutely remember and not forget that we can do about it.
Yeah. And I know we have to wrap up on this episode, but I would just close with this. Since earlier in the week of the recording of this episode, our first episode finally actually went out on the air. So for the first time, I've talked about it with you. We've recorded all these, but for the first time, I shared my story with everybody earlier this week. And what we're doing here is we want people to feel empowered to do the same. And I will tell you that for me, there was a huge weight lifted off. I was still a little nervous the first night that it went out, but by the next day, I was so proud with what we had done and the impact and hearing from people and everything. I've felt a calm this week. instances that might have made me agitated before, I was a little more calm about and not so quick to react. And I kind of felt, a little peace with things, and I hope it continues. But this is a few days after my story first went out. That's how I feel about it. I am 100% happy that we've done this. No regrets whatsoever. And I hope that anybody going through it can get to the point where they feel okay doing the same, because it can make a difference. It can be a huge weight off. And I hope everybody gets the chance that is going through it. I hope they all get the chance to get to the point where they can feel that way too.
Well, Daryl, I don't think we can end and wrap up that any better than that. And again, I seriously, we had a conversation about just kind of how you felt after that, and it's not easy to do what you have done in sharing in this way. But I think the more that we can do that and create a safe space to be able to do that, the better off we're all going to be. We all benefit from that. We're all stronger because of it. And so I'll just end with thank you. I'm just glad to be here, part of it with you and with the listeners and viewers. So appreciate you.
Thank you. And our following continues, and I could not be more proud of that. So Mike, thanks again. Have yourself a great week, and can't wait to get together for the 7th inning stretch next week. And we'll get into some anxiety topics, which a lot of people can benefit from, I think.
Absolutely. Yep. Look forward to it. Have an awesome week here, a great week, and we'll catch up. We'll catch up soon. Take care.
See you next time.
For more information on WellSpan Philhaven's tips for good mental health, featuring amazing online tools and apps, as well as tips on staying calm during the pandemic, and videos sharing proven tips on self-care and supporting others during the ongoing pandemic, visit wellspanphilhaven.org. For information on WellSpan's Employee Assistance Program, visit wellspaneap.org. If this is an emergency or you are considering harming yourself, please contact Crisis Intervention at 1-800-673-2496. Additional support is available through the National Suicide Lifeline by calling 1-800-273-8255 or by texting TALK to 741-741. These resources are staffed by crisis professionals and are available 24/7. It's always okay to reach out for help. You're not alone.